Welcome back. This is episode 152, the NYYST podcast. I am your host, Christian, as always, joined by my co-host, Chris.
You.
And he's on assignment this week. We won't say where he is.
Can we say where he is?
It's very mysterious.
Do you think he'll get mad if we say where he is?
Yes, that's why we're not going to say where he is.
Right.
We'll just keep it a big mystery that Stat Guy Rye is not here today. But who is here later on in the show? That's why we're doing a special midweek pod. We couldn't even be bothered to do these during the friggin' season, but we do have Sweeny Murti.
Mertz. That's what I call him. We're tight.
No, you don't.
Yeah, we're tight now.
No.
Yep. My boy.
He would actually get an injunction to have us not air the interview if he heard you call them that.
Yeah, he probably will the second
he heard you
that part airs.
Yeah. Okay. So Sweeny Murti of The Fan will be on with us in just a few minutes. Sweeny gave us about a half hour of his time, very gracious, to break down some Yankee talk as we head into free agency. You know, GM meetings have started. The winter meetings will be next month. And
you know, cheating in baseball.
Yeah, cheating in baseball. Don't cheat us, though. Please leave a 5-star rating and review for this pod on iTunes and go to YouTube and subscribe to the show. And you can watch us there as well. Yeah, so, you know.
Do you have bad allergies?
Who?
You.
It's cold. It's like 25
It's
degrees.
20. Okay, so like during the interview at Sweeny, it's tough to think. It's tough to like think when it's this cold. So we both cleared our throat a few times because we just can't breathe. We can't breathe up here.
Yeah, it's cold. And it's not even like, this is what I always say, right? Like if you gradually ease into the cold, if you go from like summer and then like
right.
It's 90, and then September it's like 80, and then October it's 70,
right.
and then 60 and 50, and then
like
it's
normal
20.
Seasons. Like
yeah,
normal.
Then you're like, okay, you know, this sucks, but I eased into it. But it was just fucking 60 degrees, and now it's 20 degrees.
My wife, like before we started, like a couple hours before, she was like, "You're probably gonna want to bring the space heater up there," and I was like, "I don't need a fucking space heater. What are you out of your mind?" And then I walked up here, and I was like, I kind of need the space heater. But I couldn't turn back at that point, you know?
No, you had to prove that you were the big bad man.
Right.
Well,
correct.
Stat Guy Rye would love it up here.
Why? Because, no, he layers
he
up.
Likes it hot.
He says it's so cold up
yeah,
there.
he's a crybaby in the summer.
In the summer when we have the air
it's
on.
Like, first of all, it's 100 degrees outside, so anybody that's been in an attic in the summertime knows it's really like 200 degrees with like 500% humidity. And Ryan's like, guys, go turn off the air conditioner because I'm cold. But anyway, he's on assignment this week, so let's not make fun of him too bad because he might not come back from assignment. It'd be like the time he was taken on a train.
Maybe.
Yeah, cheating in baseball. Well, who knew?
Crazy. My mind's blown. But let's be serious for a second.
Serious?
Okay. I'm someone who is a firm believer in not jumping the gun when it comes to serious allegations. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. Evidence seems
somebody on that team confirmed it. I mean, that's pretty damning right there.
Okay, ready? Yeah, Christian killed someone.
I did.
I watched him.
I killed a man.
I watched him. He chopped him up, threw him in his trunk, and he's in the Passaic River.
Yeah, but everybody knows you're a lying piece of garbage. Though.
I was a part of the NYYST team.
But there was no previous...
And now I'm in your division on another team. And
first of all,
you killed someone.
This is a completely different scenario.
And I'm not sticking up for Houston, by the way.
First of all, idiot. There's a big difference between there was no rumors about me killing anybody. You just came out and decided to be an asshole and try to ruin my life. That I killed somebody.
There's definite speculation, at least, that you would. You would be someone.
But we've known there's been rumblings for years now that the Houston Astros have been cheating.
Okay, it makes it even that more believable, right?
We've seen the video. It's pretty alarming. I mean, damning evidence right there.
Yeah. I am 99.9% confident that they will prove that they were doing illegal things to steal signs.
And we bring this up with Sweeny. If you do it in between the white lines, or somebody sees something from the dugout with their own eyes,
completely different.
that's fine. That's baseball. That's gamesmanship. You can't be watching shit on a camera in the
No.
picking up stuff like
No,
that.
I mean, come on.
And
There's like a line where everyone's like, it's 2019, you got to utilize technology.
No,
this is the line.
that's the line.
That's the line.
And I know when this broke yesterday or Tuesday, because you'll hear this pod Thursday morning, recording Wednesday night
Or any time after.
Shut up. Anyway, that a lot of Yankee fans were like, well, we should get to play the Dodgers for the World Series in 20.
Yeah,
No, you
come on.
shouldn't. Shut up.
Shut up.
First of all, you want to say Houston
It's
cheated?
bullshit.
No, it is. That logic is bullshit.
No. The whole thing is bullshit.
Chris, the reason why the Yankees lost the ALCS in 2017
Because
is
they couldn't hit.
not because the Astros were stealing signs.
No, it's because they couldn't hit.
Did they put a force field around? I mean, seriously, how the Yankees scored? I think I looked. Was it 3 runs in 4 games?
Yeah.
In Houston in
Yeah.
2017.
It was bad. It was bad.
Houston could have stole all the damn signs they wanted to. The Yankees.
All they needed was one run.
How did that affect the Yankees at the plate? Now you want to tell me the Houston pitchers were up to something? We've heard rumblings about that type of shit too.
And again, I'm not sticking up for Houston. I think if this comes out, it's one of the most disgusting things I've heard a team do in baseball that have gotten caught. I don't know all the other things. This goes beyond steroids for me. This isn't, steroids is an individual decision. Whether you did it with friends on the team or not, it's your individual decision to do it. To concoct a plan like this takes a lot of people and a team to be on board. Anyone who says they didn't know what was happening is a liar. They are a liar. 100% you're lying. Because if it's done the way people are saying it's been done, which is the only way it can be done, really, you're not just like, every time, every other pitch, I hear a fucking garbage can get banged. Isn't that weird? AJ, you hear that noise? It's been going on all season. No. You all know
You're not going to ask why George Springer's banging a garbage can or
why is Springer?
Why is he like? It's a pure coincidence that every time somebody throws a changeup, Springer's swinging a baseball bat at the garbage can.
Is he angry?
I mean, you got to give him credit though. If they were really doing this, and it really does seem like that, there was something definitely going on there. Is they had that shit down, precision to a T. That they got the sign, bang bang, and then like that. The batter was able to pick up on it. Like that was a well-oiled machine. So you got to give him credit for execution on that.
Oh yeah. Hey, listen.
They don't have to give back to the World Series in 2017 though. So can we stop with that?
So this is what this was the main point I'm getting at. Just like steroids don't make you a great player.
Oh, Luis Gonzalez.
Unless you're Luis Gonzalez, but like you still.
Again, we don't know if Luis Gonzalez did.
Yeah, we do. Come on. If you
allegedly, we're gonna allege on his behalf.
But what I'm saying is, you look at Luis Gonzalez's, entire career, that sticks out. It's like it just pops out at you, right? You're like, oh, what an idiot, right? It's so clear. But when you look at a guy like, say, Alex Rodriguez, you look at his career, just top to bottom, just a phenomenal baseball player, and he wasn't phenomenal because he took steroids. He might have gotten hurt less. He might have hit less home run. He might have hit more home runs on steroids, but it didn't make him one of the greatest players we'll ever watch. Same goes with this, right? Just because they had the signs, did they have an edge? Yeah, of course. But does knowing a changeup's coming automatically mean you're going to drill, a double every time you're up or a home run? No. Still takes talent.
But if you can't hit a changeup, if you suck at hitting changeups and it's not coming, even laying off one gives you an advantage.
Sometimes knowing it's coming gives you a disadvantage.
You know what they say is that knowing is half the battle.
Right.
So it takes all the guesswork out of hitting. And how many guys are guess hitters?
You know what someone said to me today?
No, because I don't.
I'm not going to name any names.
Okay, don't.
I was telling them what was happening.
Hap.
And I said that, yeah, and they would bang every time there was an off-speed pitch. He's like, yeah, but that's kind of bullshit because, like, what did they do when it was a fastball? And I was like, are you fucking dumb? Fastball, it was silent. We used to just stick our arm up when we were on second base. Like, if you could pick up on the signs, arm up to the right or whatever, off speed. Fastball, you don't do anything. But the problem is, this becomes the issue, right? What if the catcher does a really good job of putting down the sign for the changeup? He hides it very well, even with the camera. Batter's up there. Is there a sign? Is there a relay sign that you didn't get the sign? Because now he puts down a changeup. You didn't really see the sign that well. You don't bang, and the hitter thinks a fastball's coming, but it's not. You have to be 100% accurate for a batter to really want the sign every single pitch.
Okay.
Right?
Sure.
Do you agree with me, or you weren't even paying attention?
I'm not paying attention.
Really?
Yeah. What? If you're gonna get somebody killed, if they think a fastball's or an off-speed pitch is coming in, it's really a fastball. You can get somebody friggin' killed.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, think about the risk they put themselves at. They must have been really confident at how good they were at
Think
this.
about the risk these jabroni writers put themselves at by not voting for Aaron Boone for Manager of the Year.
Imagine that.
Rocco Baldelli of the Twins took home American League Manager of the Year honors Tuesday night. Him and Boone both scored 13 first-place votes, but point tally had Baldelli with 10 more points than Boone to take home the honors. And really, if you really want to be fair about it, Kevin Cash is the one that kind of got the screw job here because really,
if Boone wasn't going to win it, it should have been him.
Kevin Cash had the third best team in the American League. I don't care what records say. The Twins were maybe there was a bigger gap, but they were behind the Astros and the Yankees. Not the Twins. The Twins were the fourth best team in the American League, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
They proved how soft they were in the postseason.
Dude, look at the teams that the Twins play compared to who the Rays had to go up against. Seriously.
The Twins had an under 500 record against teams over 500.
You know, I meant to look that up. That alone is ridiculous. I'm sorry.
But you know what? You hate to be the guy that says the writers have a Yankee bias, but
they do.
It would almost seem that they do because how many people have we heard call in that are not Yankee fans today into Sports Talk Radio? Well, even with the injuries, the Yankees are still expected to win. And what do? They won. They won 103 games. This is a regular season award, so you can't take into account anything into the postseason. They still won 103 games this year. They did what they were expected to do. The Twins stunk in 2018, and they won 100. They went over 100, somewhere around there, right?
I think they won 100
with a lower payroll.
Okay,
and nobody wants to hear that the Yankees didn't. Their high payroll guys were hurt, or their stars were hurt.
No, I'm sorry. If you look at the adversity that this team put up with, it's just insane. I mean, it was one thing after the next, and if you want me to sit here and fight against Rocco Baldelli, I don't even have to sit here and tell you that Boone should have won it. If I'm fighting against Rocco Baldelli, I'll tell you then, if it makes you feel better and warmer and cozy inside, I will at least fight for Kevin Cash because Kevin Cash deserved it way more.
I believe the difference in the 10 points was that Boone was, even though Boone was a finalist, he was left out of the top 3 on 4 different ballots, which pretty much, yeah.
What 3 managers are these guys? Honestly, I
don't know why. Bob Melvin was in.
Fuck Bob Melvin, man. Seriously,
I'm just telling you that Bob Melvin was in the top 3 on those 4 ballots. That Boone was left out of the top 3 on.
And I don't know why I get so worked up. Seriously, because these awards. I'm sorry to the writers. We have one. Sweeney's a writer, right? He gets the nod. He's right. No.
I don't know if he
should have asked him.
He's not in the Writers Association. He's not a columnist. He doesn't write for a newspaper.
Really?
What newspaper does he write for?
You don't have to write for a newspaper.
What online publication does he write for?
I'm pretty sure
He's just
Murti has articles out there.
I'm pretty sure he's a reporter.
We'll see.
He's a reporter.
We'll see.
Okay.
Reporter.
Anyway, go ahead.
If he is part of the association, I apologize to him. But these writers have to wake up a little bit. This is crazy. You are dropping the ball in so many ways, and it's not everyone. But now it's gotten to a point where it's really ridiculous. What the fuck are you doing?
What does it matter?
Why are you so distracted when I fucking talk?
I'm here. Everything you say.
It's a joke.
You're easily triggered is what the problem is.
It's a joke. And it made me, Yankee fan or not, it made me not give a shit about them anymore.
Well, think about it. If I would, in whenever opening day was, March, whatever, of 2019, if I told you the Yankees were going to win 103 games, you would think the team was completely healthy. You would not expect that team to do any better than 103 games. You would even say, wow, 103 games, that's pretty fucking good.
Absolutely.
But the fact that, so it really comes down to, in some of the writers' minds, is that the Yankees wound up where they were going to wind up anyway, so Aaron Boone shouldn't get credit for that.
Hey, it's just like how Aaron Boone doesn't get credit when they win, but when they lose, it's his fault.
Well, you just go through it, right? I brought this up on Twitter last night when somebody said, "Oh, there's no bias against the Yankees." Well, you know what? In 2003, there was a clear bias against the Yankees because the writers decided that year that Hideki Matsui wasn't a rookie because he played in Japan beforehand. But 2 years before, they didn't hold that against Ichiro.
Right. Last
year, they didn't hold that against Shohei Ohtani.
Dude, you have to be like on another fucking level if you're a Yankee and these writers are actually going to vote for you to win.
And then the person's response back was, well, Angel Baroa's WAR was higher than Hideki Matsui's that year. Please, like, give me a break. This is why I think analytics. This is why I have a bad taste in my mouth about analytics. You're gonna tell me first. First of all, you're gonna tell me in 2003 people had their heads up their ass about WAR.
Was that even a fucking thing back then?
Not really. No, not the way it is now. And defensive positioning is taken into account when they factor in WAR. So a shortstop that hits well gets more. However they calculate it, they get more quote WAR points than a left fielder because a left fielder is expected to be a big time slugger, whereas a shortstop really isn't. So that affects the WAR right there. And don't tell me that defense is taken into account when they vote on Rookie of the Year. Nobody gives a shit. Come on.
Honestly, I actually forgot to bring this up when it came to DJ and the whole WAR bullshit of when he didn't get top 3 for MVP this year. I think Rosenthal said like so much of that is from defensive metrics. So like it's just not fair. It's just not.
The guy didn't have a defensive position this year. He played all over the diamond. So now you're going to take that out.
Exactly.
So again, this is what. Who cares? Anyway,
Who
you know
cares?
what? Rocco Baldelli won. There is a.
And you know what? Congrats to Rocco Baldelli. He managed He really did. I mean, they were a very good team. They weren't that good, clearly. And here's what pisses me off, right? We can sit here and say, when are all these things voted on?
After the season, before the postseason.
Oh, it's all voted before the postseason.
Yes, you cannot vote once the postseason starts. They don't want any postseason to take into account on these awards.
Okay. I just thought they had to base their vote only strictly on what happened in the regular season. And I was just going to say, mentally,
well, think about it.
You have to take into consideration whether you really are or not.
So if they let you vote until, let's say, Game 5 of the American League Division Series, but you're only supposed to take into account the regular season. Let's say Aaron Boone decides he's going to, do something really stupid like bat Luis Severino cleanup in a game. You don't think that's going to run through your mind when
exactly.
So that's why the voting is done before the postseason starts.
Okay, Johnny.
Are you done?
I'm done.
Okay. So let's kick it over to our interview with Sweeny Murti of The Fan. You can follow Sweeny on Yankees WFAN. And here we go.
And don't forget to leave us a rating, review, and subscribe.
Stop being such a creep.
Okay?
Bye.
Later.
Chris and Christian of the NYYST podcast on the phone with Sweeny Murti. Sweeny covers the Yankees for WFAN, and you can also hear Sweeny during the season, doing a great job on the post game as well. Sweeny, how you doing this evening?
Wonderful, guys. How are you?
Pretty good. Can't complain. We got some interesting new news to talk about, so we figured we'd come on here, and we appreciate you coming on with us.
Yeah, no problem.
Well, the news du jour, I guess it can't be of the day. It's of the past 2 days here. Is the Houston Astros cheating scandal it's kind of broken and confirmed by a former Astros pitcher, Mike Fiers, is that they were using electronic devices to steal signs as far back as 2017. As somebody that covers the game, how do you feel about this? That it seems that this is going beyond the white lines of the field here, where it's all fair game if you pick up something standing on second base, but these guys are apparently using cameras to pick up signs here. How do you in context of the game?
I think you said it. I mean, you're crossing the line right there. So we'll see what they're able to uncover as far as. Well, I guess the big question is: are they able to figure out really the roots of this and who's behind it? And if they are, then we'll see what kind of punishment is laid out here. If it, is there somebody that's going to be a fall guy, or is it kind of back to AJ Hinch and Jeff Lunau, the top of the organization? That's what we have to wait to see and see what kind of appropriate punishment is going to be, because I'm pretty sure baseball is taking this pretty seriously. I don't think they like the implications of what it means to the game, what it could mean down the road if they aren't sufficiently heavy-handed here. So I guess we kind of have to wait to see how the rest of this goes from here.
Sweeny, I've heard just listening to Sports Talk Radio today and having the TV on here and there, a lot of people that have been in baseball for a long time, such as yourself, they're kind of not shocked to hear about this. They kind of said, if you've been close to the game, you kind of heard these rumblings for a while. Is that true, at least on your end?
Well, there are a lot of people who talk about the idea that what they think is happening, and there's anecdotal evidence of really that there's no way that I could have taken that pitch, or there's no way that guy could have flung at that pitch. And it's not limited to the Astros. But this is the first time that somebody has come out and put their name to it and said, here's what happened and here's how it happened. So that's the new part here. I think the thing that I think is kind of enlightening here is that over the last few years, the Astros had a lot of fans throughout the game, a lot of admirers throughout the game. I mean, when I say that, I think people admire the talent that some of the players have, but as an organization, so the Astros got rid of a number of scouts, so the entire scouting community from every other team looks down on the Astros. And there's also obviously the idea of jealousy of a team that's been winning. So I think to me the thing that I look at is that there is not I haven't seen anybody yet come to their defense because I don't think they have a lot of people wanting to defend them. I don't think there are a lot of friends of the Astros out there throughout the rest of the league. Now, maybe that would be true if it was the Yankees or the Red Sox or the Mets or somebody else. But I find it interesting because the last couple of years, especially talk around the way that they've gone completely new school and gotten rid of an honest scouts. That part is certainly in the minds of a lot of people around baseball who don't seem willing to be jumping to the Astros defense right now.
Sweeny, before we actually get onto some Yankee topics here, what do you think Mike Fiers has to gain from being the whistleblower here? He's still in the game. Doesn't it seem odd that somebody's still playing is putting his name to this. Normally you hear about stuff like this if a guy's trying to write a book or something after his career's over, but he's still with the Oakland Athletics as far as I know, so he's going to be facing the Astros a couple times next year. Is it just to try to gain a competitive advantage against them that hope they stop while he's on the mound?
I think it was just the idea. I mean, I take it for face value right now, the way he talks about, seeing that they were not doing it the right way. And he didn't think it was fair, especially when I was doing his side. Now, listen, it wasn't like he did it while he was on the Astros. It's not like an Astros player come out and said, yeah, listen, we're cheating and it's not right. He waited till he was an opposing team. So there's that. But, I mean, yeah, I give him credit. I mean, he's supposed to make a living in this ballgame. He's still, there are still people around the league. And as I said, the Astros aren't the only ones doing this. So there are other teams who are going to have to take a chance on employing Mike Fiers at some point. He's going to be working to other teams to be employed. So you do have to give him some credit for that.
All right, Sween. So we know that the big fish in the free agent market this year is Garrett Cole. You hear the Yankees every time there's a big free agent, they're linked to him. But as we've seen in recent years, maybe they're not exactly in that part of the ocean anymore. How serious are the Yankees about getting Garrett Cole? Because we know Brian Cashman has tried to get Garrett Cole twice. He drafted him, but Cole chose to go to college. He tried to trade for him when he was with Pittsburgh before he ultimately wound up with the Houston Astros. Are the Yankees really in on Garrett Cole?
Well, I think they're interested. We'll see to what degree they're interested, and there are some factors that are under their control. Namely, what is another team willing to do, and what are Cole's real preferences. The negotiating process here, that includes who knows how many teams here, will eventually dictate this. I think they have to have some interest there, as you said. They've tried to get him before. They've talked about upgrading pitching, and certainly this is one way to do it. I don't know how far the Yankees are willing to extend themselves here, but I have pointed out a few times that the Yankees have covered the last 25 years with three high-end pitchers. Dave Cone, they traded for first and then re-signed as free agent after the 1995 season. When his contract was up, they would go and sign Mike Mussina as a free agent. When Mike Mussina retired, they signed CC Sabathia as a free agent. And now Sabathia is retired. There's more high-end pitching available. On top of that, you have one more year with Mafia Knock under contract and one more year before James Paxton is free agency. The Yankees are going to have to need to acquire pitching. There are several high-end starting pitchers available right now. So are they able to bite the bullet now short-term with the luxury tax hit, knowing that they have money with these pitchers that I talked about coming off the book, and a need for it to fill the rotation from the outside really soon? They certainly have numbers in order to fill out a rotation, but I'm sure a certain amount of trepidation about not adding to this, just based on the fact that if Luis Severino is the guy you're looking at as your ace, he has any sort of, if he feels anything in the spring, given what he went through this past season, you're probably shutting him down for a couple of weeks, and he doesn't start the season on time. So you're kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop there and putting yourself in a position of, okay, you're digging into that depth. I think any team would love to have Garrett Cole, no matter what price it's going to be. And I think these are the factors the Yankees have to deal with as they try to make that decision.
Well, I mean, here's my perspective of everything at this point, and you were pretty vocal at the end of Cashman's, the end of the season when Cashman had his press conference. You were a lot of Yankee fans' hero for a couple days there, speaking up. Our perspective has always been, we've looked at it from a point of view where we understand the Yankees and the excuses or, their reasoning behind not signing some of these big guys. This year, we really don't have that type of patience. I don't see any reason why they can't sign a guy like Cole or Strasburg. But in your opinion, if Cole doesn't fall through, is Strasburg maybe a good plan B? Do the Yankees, do you think if Cole falls through, they go with someone, of less of a name of, maybe Zach Wheeler?
I think there are just too many factors here to accurately predict which player falls where. But as I said, there are a number of high-end starting pitchers available out here, and the Yankees will soon find themselves in a position of need. They could possibly fill some of that from within. But you have, as I said, a lot of options here on the market that could fill that void as well. So we'll see where they go. As for, calling out Brian Cash, I wasn't calling him out. I was stating what I thought was a fact, and he objected to the wording of it, and we just kind of disagreed on the terminology of it. In the end, I wasn't disputing that they had valid reasons for not acquiring those pitchers in each individual case. And we're talking about, Justin Verlander, Garrett Cole, and Corbin. I think I forgot to mention Max Scherzer. He falls into that category. There were legitimate reasons for every single one of those. But as you now look at what happened in the World Series, by some coincidence, but there was also the team's good. All these starting pitchers ended up in the World Series. It could have very easily been that the Astros lost the wild card in the division series, or that the Nationals lost the wild card game. It wouldn't have shown up quite that way. But what I was pointing out is that there are a lot of players in the World Series right now that you could have had, and did the owner express any regret over that? Because then that would give you a little glimpse into what the Yankees might be trying to do this winter with, as you said, so much starting pitching available. It had nothing to do with calling them out for not acquiring those and saying, hey, dummy, why did you pass on those guys? Not what I was saying at all. I wasn't judging them in any way for it. I was simply stating that there were starting pitchers that are in the World Series that they did not acquire. Is that something that Hal Steinbrenner? And that's really all I was trying to get at. And if you wait until the end of our exchange, we're talk about being very comfortable with the process. Brian Cashman being very comfortable with the process that they've gone through. And so if that's the case, again, I don't think there's a way to really sit there and say they're absolutely signing two of these guys, as Giancarlo Stanton would do. But I do think there's an opening here and availability here, and the Yankees have shown, as I said, over the last 25 years, when there is a spot, they do what they can to bring an elite pitcher in to fill that hole.
Yeah, and you know what? Looking on, you hit it right on the head. Looking on, I mean, I think the second the Nationals and Astros were lined up for that World Series, the first thought in my head was how many guys the Yankees, whether they, passed on them, they missed on them, whatever you want to call it, how many guys the Yankees theoretically could have had on this team are going to be pitching in the World Series. And that's why at this point now, I just don't think there's really any reason behind why they couldn't sign one of these guys, even if that reason is they think they have enough talent within. I don't think that's a good enough reason at this point.
Well, again, we'll see. I think the one thing everybody objects to, the fans object to, is the Yankees have a budget, and I think it's wrong to call it cheap. They spend a lot of money. But I think fans will look at it and say, of course, they make a lot of money. There's a line that I'm going to cross because the luxury tax threshold, it's not simply about paying the tax, it's where the money goes. The Tampa Bay Rays are taking the Yankees' money and feeding them. And the analogy I use many times, and I apologize if you heard me use this before someplace else, but if McDonald's was told that after a certain point, half of every dollar they spent on advertising would go directly to Burger King and Wendy's, McDonald's would probably stop advertising at that point because they didn't want their competition to get their money directly. And that's what the Yankees are up against as you look at the luxury tax threshold, not necessarily the amount of money that it costs them, but where it's going and to what purpose.
Sweeny, you had me sold at McDonald's, I'll tell you that.
Sweeny, you mentioned John Carlos Stanton. If the Yankees, we've been saying this on our show for weeks now. This is a big offseason for the Yankees to show if they're really still willing. It's easy for me to say, to swim in those waters and bring in big top free agents, because you look at last year, maybe Harper wasn't a fit, maybe Machado wasn't a fit, LeMahieu worked out better for them, but there's a glaring need there for a top end starting pitcher. You know that if you look at the way the ALCS broke out, you won't through the 6 games, you can't say that pitching cost them the series, but they had nowhere to go in Game 7, especially when Aaron Boone came out and said that if that went extra innings, he would have had to go to Luis Severino. So obviously adding somebody in like a Garrett Cole or Strasburg or even Zach Wheeler will help alleviate that in 2020. But if they're not willing to swim in those deep waters anymore, what was the cause of bringing a guy like John Carlos Stanton? That's the one thing I can't wrap my head around, is that they still went out and got a big fish like John Carlos Stanton a couple years ago.
Well, I mean, Stanton at the time and how they were able to maneuver the players that they let go and the contract helped them get under the tax threshold. And he was coming out the season in which he hit 58 home runs. And it's not like people are saying the Yankees can just get rid of this guy now and he's a portion of the contract. Well, it was easier to get rid of a couple of years ago because he hit 58 home runs. And he's got a no trade clause. You can't just get rid of him because he got hurt this year and make it easy. The year before, he had 38 home runs, over 100 runs. In a year when he played 158 games, the knock on him was that he's always hurt. Okay, he was hurt a lot this year. 2 years ago, he played 158 games, and a lot of them with a sore hamstring, and still managed to 38 home runs for the team. And Aaron Judge missed 7 weeks at the end of the season. Henry Sanchez spent a couple of stints on the IL just a lot of times. So there was value there in what he was giving them. And there can be, again, stays on the field. That was the problem this year. No doubt about it. And he's got to be able to stay on the field and produce. And I understand the strikeouts and the bats for postseason and the short sample size you have there. But I don't know if there's anything else you can do with him. And as far as I will point this out, as far as talking about where the Yankees were going starting pitching, what they were forced to do, the Houston Astros had Justin Verlander, Garrett Cole, and Zach Greinke. They could not have a richer starting pitching. But when they were playing Game 6 of the ALCS with a chance to win the American League Pennant, they had to go to a bullpen game. They did not have a starter to go to. So I think that speaks a lot to, just because you want it doesn't mean it works out a certain way. The Astros got all those starters, and they still were not able to put a starter on the field for Game 6 of the ALCS.
Sweeny, I think I'd find it hard to believe if you told me that, last year, at the end of last year's season, that Didi's future would be such a polarizing topic within, the Yankee fan base here. So many people love him. A lot of people, even though they love him, feel it's time to move on. Where do you see the Yankees turning here? Have they expressed, over the top interest right now? Do you think they're going to let him, shop around and he could end up on another team?
No, I mean, I think it's out there, and there's obviously some interest in him from other teams right now, and he's a free agent. I don't think the Yankees are, they're not in a position where they were making an early jump like they did with Staffy the last couple of years and jumped to right now. Those guys are coming back on one-year deals, so they were a little bit easier to sign. Didi has the ability here for the first time to go out and get a multi-year deal, and I think that's what he's looking for. I don't know where they're going to go, but they do have some options here, and I think you just can't wait to see if it comes back to them. I don't think they're of the mind right now to make a huge commitment to him based on a number of things. The season he just had was part of it. And the fact that the metrics don't play well for him defensively, low on base guy, 30 years old, I think you're looking to see if the contract makes sense for you as opposed to going out and making sure, hey, got to keep this guy no matter what it costs. So I think that's the balance we're trying to strike right.
So let's assume, just for the sake of asking the question, that Didi and the Yankees can't come to an agreement. Do the Yankees trust Gleyber Torres being their starting shortstop going forward?
Well, I think that's what they have intended to do, probably. But they're, I remember last year thinking that now Gleyber had obviously one less year in the big leagues by this time, at this time last year. But I remember thinking that simply moving Torres to short was not the best option. They chose Tulowitzki as their first choice. I thought Freddie Galvis was a better option. But Galvis is available again. So we'll see if that's something that they can pull off, or if that's what they want to pull off. If they don't bring back the Gregorius. They have some options. For Gleyber Torres, moving to short is certainly one of them. I don't think it's their best option. If you're talking strictly defensively, I think their best infield is still Gregorius short and Torres is second, despite some of the metrics and some of the range numbers. I still think there's some value there. That overall value defensively, to look at the entire infield, I think makes sense. So we'll see if it makes sense for them.
Any chance that Brian Cashman gets crazy and calls up? Why can't I think of his name?
Lindor, Cleveland.
Yeah,
Oh,
Cleveland,
the
and,
GM over there.
Yeah, and tries to swing a deal for Francisco Lindor.
I never say never. Listen, I watched their third baseman get hurt, and they traded for Alex Rodriguez, who was a shortstop and was an MVP, was the MVP of the league, and they just stayed upon and said, let's make him a third baseman. Nothing short of Babe Ruth walking into the Yankee clubhouse surprises me these days. So you just wait to see. I think the other thing you got to remember about that is that you're going to have to take. You're not trading for him just he's coming up on free agency. The only reason the Indians are contemplating trading is because he's coming up on free agency, and you have to pay him. So if that's the guy you're willing to pay, and put yourself in another situation with a contract like that, then okay. But it's trading prospects and making a financial commitment. So, again, nothing will ever surprise me, but there are a number of different options here to get it.
All right, Sweeny, a couple more before we let you go here. Two guys that have been in the Yankee clubhouse for a very long time, Dellin Betances and Brett Gardner, both free agents. Gardy had a career year basically in 2019, and we've seen Betances pitch to all of two batters. Just an injury-plagued year for him. How do you see their futures? Are they in the Bronx or what other ball clubs?
Well, I think Gardner has a really good chance of coming back because the Yankees are looking to find a center field replacement until Aaron Hicks gets healthy, coming back from Tommy John. Much like they did with Didi Gregorius this year. They had to wait for him to come back from Tommy John, and as you said, they went down a certain road with the options they chose. Brett Gardner was for them as an option, if that's how they so choose. And I think it's an option that makes sense. Here, you almost certain you don't have to make a multi-year commitment to him because he didn't last year. So I think it's something that makes sense for Gardner. If the chances, I don't know where it's really going to be based on what a team is willing to do. Are they willing to make any sort of a multi-year commitment to a guy who suffered, an injury that cost him the end of the season? That wasn't the arm, but again, it was such a injury-filled year for him, and he didn't have the ability to capitalize on his free agent year, which, that was really sad to see. Of somebody who's taken the ball so many times for the Yankees over the last 5-6 years here, and finally came to the point where he was able to cash in on it, and it wasn't going to work because of the injury situation. So I think they're, based on the fact that he is going to get a lot of one-year offers, I would think there are going to be places for him to choose. What's the best spot for him? What's the best spot where he can, really just gain his earning power again? So I think he's going to have a lot of choices because it's not like he's going into free agency where there's an obvious spot for, okay, he's going to command, like Chapman, he's going to command a 5-year deal at such a dollar rate. There are only a few teams that would be willing to move into that neighborhood. If he's looking at a deal where he's trying to build his value back up, I think a lot of teams can play in that area.
Sweeny, over under 25 injuries next year for the Yankees.
It's one a week, right? I think you have to say. I think you have to say over because I don't
based on the elements. I agree.
How many teams are under that?
Is it that? Listen, the Yankees had a record year of injuries. I mean, how many other teams do suffer that many injuries? We don't. We're so Yankee biased in that way.
I didn't look at the number of injuries on the teams, but you're talking about a lot of them can be short-term things. I mean, 10 days is something that a lot of teams are willing to do when you didn't used to. If you had a player who was going to be down for 8 days, you might not put him on the DL because you wanted to just ride it out. You didn't want, you didn't need the 15 days. Sorry, I can make 7 or 8 days. Now you've got 10 days. I think teams are willing to use the IL, and that's the benefit to the union because that means the players from minor league get called up and get some service time for that. So I haven't done the study with other teams. So these guys get hurt a lot. They're out there playing hard, and it's not unusual to see guys get hurt. So yeah, I would be shocked at the plus from that, I guess.
All right, last one, Sweeny, and we'll let you go. I think a lot of Yankee fans, whether they're rational or irrational, they give Larry a hard time. They gave him a hard rap, Larry Rothschild. If you really look at the Yankees pitching numbers in his tenure here, they were actually really good. I mean, I tweeted something out not too long ago. In the main categories, in the categories you're really looking at, the Yankees were top 5 in almost everything during his tenure here. But it just seems like the Yankees were looking to turn the corner. Someone younger, someone newer, someone a little more tuned in to the technology. How do you feel about the signing of Blake? Do you excuse me, if you were there interviewing for that, would he be your guy?
Well, I don't know. I'm not really qualified to hire a pitching coach, so I can't answer that. With your point about Larry Rothschild, they're a good pitching coach. I mean, the last 2 jobs the guy held, 9 years, and
it's not like he didn't stay unemployed long. He's already in San Diego, correct?
Sure. And it's not like the Yankees thought he was doing a bad job. They re-signed the contract a couple of times. He didn't have 1 9-year contract. So he's obviously a guy who knows what he's doing, knows a lot about pitching. I think, fans will get frustrated when certain guys struggled, and it wasn't easy to fix. And guess what? It's not easy to fix, even for good coaches. I think you have to be fair, and if you're going to blame him for things that went wrong, you get it for things that went right. And let's not forget that on his watch, Masahiro Tanaka suffered a partially torn ACL and successfully pitched through it without surgery. That's part of Larry Rothschild's job to get him through that. That was a success. CC Sabathia, after the knee injuries and the shoulder issues, lost velocity and had to come back, continue pitching with much lesser velocity, and just reimagine the way he pitched. Larry Rothschild gets a lot of credit for that. Dylan Betances was a starter turned reliever that happened in the organization, but his elevation to the big league staff and his ability to become an all-star, yes, again, a lot of ability there. And then when the Panthers gets a lot of credit for that. But so does Larry Ross now. Aroldis Chapman, and he's not sure when he gets a little pushback because of, obviously, the pitch that he gave up off Game 6 was a slider, but the development of that slider is actually a really good pitch. And if you notice during the course of the season how effective it is and what it does for him, you know that it's a pitch that works. And it's, listen, I could fill up a museum with pitchers who've thrown bad sliders and haven't hit for a home run. So that's neither here nor there. But recognizing that he needed to work on a pitch 5 to 102 mile an hour fastball and getting that pitch to the phone, he feels comfortable enough to throw it in that spot in the playoff game or some other games where he's got that deep side, feels comfortable enough to throw it. That's how good the pitch is. Again, that's a plus in Larry Rothschild's column. That's something you have to credit him with. You're going to throw all the Sonny Graves and everything else at him and say, why couldn't you fix him? It's not always the coach who can't do something. And I think that gets tainted a little too easily sometimes. There's a lot of nuance in all of this. And all everybody wants is one clear answer for this is the solution or this is the problem. And it's never.
All right, Sweeny, we want to thank you very much for spending some time with us here on this Wednesday evening, talking a little Yankee baseball as we head towards the they're in the GM meetings.
Winter meetings,
hot stove baseball. So thank you very much, Sweeny. You can follow Sweeny on Twitter at YankeesWFAN. Sweeny does a wonderful job covering the team and a great job on the post games during the season. Sweeny, thank you very much and have a good evening.
Thanks, Sweeny. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, fellas. Appreciate it.
All right, that was Sweeny Murti of WFAN. So, like we just said, follow Sweeny on Twitter at YankeesWFAN. Follow us on Twitter at NYY Sports Talk. That'll wrap up episode 152.
The goo.
Yep.
Is that how you're gonna close it, bro? That's it?
You want me to say something else?
Are you kidding me? We've been doing the same close for 151 episodes.
No, we haven't, because this is the second time that we've done the phone direct to close. So.
Yeah, and you still always give me my Chris.
I didn't get there yet, but this is a problem with the Stacy men.
We jumped the gun.
Megan!
We jumped the gun.
I'm going to ask her later.
Well, she's pregnant again, so, I mean, what do you think?
I didn't say you were shooting blanks. I just said that you jumped the gun. All right, so thank you for listening to episode 152 of the NYY Sports Talk podcast. Chris, say goodbye.
Peace!